Hello everybody and welcome back to my F1 2014 career mode. Today we start Season 2. James Early, after a season at Sauber, has moved to McLaren to partner 2009 Formula 1 World Champion Jenson Button. There's been a load of driver changes, some new drivers coming into the sport, some leaving, and some just switching between teams, and a new team on the grid for Season 2. So let's check it out. Taking a look at the full grid, Mercedes, now fronted by Monster Energy, have retained Lewis Hamilton, but after winning the championship last year, Rosberg retired and is replaced by Kevin Magnussen. Red Bull remain unchanged with a lineup of Sebastian Vettel and Daniel Ricciardo. They'll be aiming to challenge for the championship this year. On to Ferrari, who have retained the services of Fernando Alonso, and he is to be joined by the Mexican of Sergio Perez. Perez had a great season for Force India last year. McLaren see an all-British lineup this season, with 2009 World Champion Jenson Button being joined by James Early in an all-new look McLaren. Whilst Williams have seen the departure of Felipe Massa, he is replaced by Mercedes Junior Max Verstappen, the youngest F1 driver ever. Toto Wolff signed Verstappen in 2014 with a guaranteed seat at Williams alongside Bottas. Nico Hülkenberg remains at Force India and is joined by rookie Stoffel van Dorn as the team sport a striking new livery. Sauber is an all-new team and lineup with support from Alfa Romeo. Kimi Raikkonen has returned to the team to be partnered by highly rated youngster Jules Bianchi. Daniel Kvyat remains at Toro Rosso, with Carlos Sainz Jr. making his debut alongside. Renault have purchased a stake in the team, thus explaining the yellow livery, which makes the Lotus team seem even stranger. Who owns it? Romain Grosjean remains to be partnered by GP2 champion Jolyon Palmer. The streamlined takeover of Marussia fell through, and Marussia have remained on the grid with financial support from their driver pairing of Raffaele Marciello and Rio Haryanto. Finally, a new team on the grid in the form of Haas F1 team. No longer is Caterham on the grid. Scott Dixon makes the jump from IndyCar to be partnered by returning Formula 1 driver Robert Kubica. And that's the driver lineup. We've got a sunny weekend at Australia. Hopefully that means we're going to have a very sunny, race for McLaren. Maybe we'll get some points. Well, here we are in practice, sitting in our brand new McLaren cockpit. It's a red and white sap livery McLaren. I'll show you what it looks like out on track. Actually, you can see Jenson Button's just to the right. He's ready to go. I'm ready to go as well. Let's get out on track and see what the car's like. Almost all the liveries on F1 2014 are put on the Red Bull car, because one guy decided to make a model for the Red Bull car. So everybody making liveries put it on the Red Bull. So it means almost, maybe about 6 of the cars on the grid is the Red Bull car. But it's not the Red Bull Performance. Now, McLaren did exceptionally well compared to what they did in real life in 2014 in our Season 1 of this version of events. It meant Magnussen, who scored well over 100 points, went to Mercedes to replace Rosberg. Even Button made it past the 100-point score. So I think our objective going into this season should be to maybe get somewhere around 100 points. And we've done a bit of practice, and now we're ready to jump straight into qualifying 1. And we've got the prime tyres on the car, which means McLaren are expecting us to be straight fast out the blocks and get straight into Q2. I don't know how that's going to go. Now, I remember in Season 1 driving for Sauber how difficult the first few races were, especially in qualifying. But I'm expecting this to be pretty difficult as well, especially considering we're on the prime tyres. I seem to be all over the place as well right now. I've got to get used to driving this car. Well, initial thoughts on this car and this tyre, not good, with 3.2 seconds off Carlos Sainz. Well, I'll definitely have to go out again on the option tyres. Prime tyres ain't going to cut it for me. Down towards the line, we have improved in this second lap though, so maybe I'll not be last with this one. Across the line of 31.7. I'm faster than Robert Kubica. Yes! It'll be absolutely devastating if we don't make it out of Q1 on our debut for the team. Right now we're 21st, only faster than Lewis Hamilton, who must have made a mistake on his lap. Already a better lap. We're up by half a tenth on Grosjean's time, who's in 16th place. Not looking fantastic though. And we're still up in the second sector, so things may be looking slightly promising. We lost time in the final sector. It's only 17th place right now. I need to find half a second. I can't find half a second. We're slightly up on this next lap once again. But it's not a personal best in the second sector. James Early could be at danger of being eliminated in Q1 here. Just struggling through the final few corners, especially that third sector, is a real challenge. And we're not even faster. We are slower. We are slower. What is going on? And I'm out there once again on brand new option tyres. I'm having to use a set of primes and 2 sets of options just to potentially get through to Q2. And it's a 29.491 the lap time we need. I am not achieving that. I'm thinking if I'm just a lot smoother with the throttle, then maybe I can find some time. But through the first 2 sectors, it's not looking great. We're 2/10 down on what we need. Still sliding out the final corner, even though I'm trying to control the throttle. Down towards the line. Have I done enough to make it into the next session? No, I have not. Not at all. And Q1 has come and gone. Sergio Perez fastest. Jenson Button second quickest with a 28.3. And all the way down in 18th place is James Early in the second McLaren. Clearly with a lot of work to do to get comfortable with that car. He only went a 10th quicker than what he did in Sauber last year at the same track. Romain Grosjean in 17th place. He's knocked out for Lotus. The 2 Haas drivers on debut, 19th and 20th. And then it's Rio Haryanto and Raffaele Marciello, the 2 Marushas, last and second to last. We've got Lewis Hamilton lining up on pole position. He is not the reigning world champion. Of course, Nico Rosberg beat him to the championship in Season 1. Fernando Alonso alongside him on the front row for Ferrari. Vettel and new Mercedes boy Kevin Magnussen on the second row. Max Verstappen on debut in the Williams in 5th position ahead of Stoffel Van Dorn. And then we have Valtteri Bottas in 7th, followed by Sergio Perez. Max Hulkenberg in 9th place, followed by Daniel Ricciardo in 10th in the second Red Bull. 11th place for my teammate Jenson Button. So his pace in Q1 completely gone for Q2. He starts outside the top 10 and is alongside a fellow Briton of Jolyon Palmer. Not Jonathan Barber James, Jolyon Palmer. Daniel Kvyat 13th, followed by Bianchi. Then we have Raikkonen down in 15th for the Alfa Romeo Sauber team. Carlos Sainz 16th, and we know the rest of the grid. James Early starting down in 18th place. He needs something big today to get anywhere close to the points. We got points here on debut for Sauber last year. It's a 29-lap race, no risk of rain. It's going to be option, prime, option all the way to the end. We just got to hope for the best, I think. Hope for the best. Well, there's only one more thing to do, and that's go racing. The 2014, or I suppose 2015, Australian Grand Prix is next. 3 lights, 4 lights, and 5, and we are underway for Season 2 of the F1 2014 career mode. It's a kind of okay start, I suppose, starting on the option tyres. Already, though, I can see a Haas Ferrari on my left-hand side challenging down towards Turn 1. I think that's Scott Dixon on the outside at his home Grand Prix, no less. A couple drivers up the road losing parts of their car as on the exit of the first corner. You'll notice, it's not already obvious, it will become obvious at some point. The Red Bull, when I'm more than about 30 metres away from it, the car's not there, it disappears. I don't know why. I don't know how to fix that yet, so for now we have to deal with it. Anyway, through turns 3 and 4 we go. We're on the outside of a couple of drivers, including Jolyon Palmer, who's not made a great start to life in F1. Already up to 15th place and now potentially challenging Kimi Raikkonen down towards the next braking zone. He in turn is challenging his teammate. Whoa! Carlos Sainz around the outside. Incredible move from the Toro Rosso, which is sponsored by Renault. It's got, of course, a Renault engine in the back of it. Oh my gosh. Absolute carnage here into turn 9. I think Bianchi and Sainz both lost parts of their cars. Sainz, yeah, definitely missing a front wing. So we're going to go back around the outside. And maybe a run here on the outside there of Bianchi. Bianchi leaving no space for James Early. Eventually, though, Early squeezes through. And that's 13th place. We're making a great start to this race. Jenson Button missing a front wing. Oh, no. And Stoffel Van Dorn. So the teammate in the mud. And Early now up to 11th place and challenging for a points position. I think Daniel Ricciardo also has damage. Everybody seems to have damage on this opening lap. And Ricciardo around the outside goes early on Ricciardo through turn 14. And suddenly we find ourselves in a points position. Holy smokes, the gap the leaders have. You can see on the minimap in the bottom left how far ahead they are. They have just shot off in this opening lap. They've ran away with it. Top 4 right now, Hamilton, Alonso, Magnussen, Perez. It is Ferrari versus Mercedes up at the front, and that could be the story of the season. Maybe Ferrari have the pace to challenge for the championship. I'm certainly feeling much quicker in the race compared to qualifying, though. Ricciardo is clearly much quicker than me in the Red Bull behind. He's challenging. We're up to 9th place, though. I think somebody must have boxed on the end of the previous lap. I've got a train of cars behind me. Bianchi now challenging Ricciardo down towards turn 1. That'd be a brave move from Jules Bianchi. And I think he's made it stick. Incredible stuff. He's into the points. A lot can be said for my poor performance in qualifying, but at least I stayed out of trouble on the opening lap, which cannot be said for my teammate Jenson Button. We saw him without a front wing. So whatever happens today, as long as I can get to the end of the race comfortably, I think we'll finish ahead of Jenson Button. It'll be 1-0 in the teammate battle. Bianchi and Palmer now challenging down towards turn 1. Wow, okay, they've both got DRS as well. Jolyon Palmer, seeing Jolyon Palmer on the grid. I'm so used to seeing Jonathan Palmer on the grid in my other series on the Retro channel. It's kind of weird seeing Jolyon Palmer, his son, there. So Daniel Ricciardo, he slipped back a bit. He's in 13th place, and his teammate Sebastian Vettel was one of the drivers who got damage at the start, so he had a pit stop. He's down in 18th position. Not a good start to the season for Red Bull, who won at the final round last year at Abu Dhabi, courtesy of Sebastian Vettel. So you're expecting maybe they were going to carry that form into this season. Not to be the case so far. Bianchi's all over me. I can't really stop him. He's very, very quick at this stage. I mean, Jolyon Palmer's pretty quick as well. Bianchi's going to go round the outside, clear around the outside of early through turn 1. Move himself up to 9th position. We're down to 10th. Just on the fringes of the points now. Here goes Jolyon Palmer down towards turn 3. Can he challenge around the outside? No, he cannot. And there's a front wing missing on one of the cars ahead. And there's a car off there. Bianchi and one of the Force Indies, I think, was off. And I think they're both out of the race. Yes, they are. And a safety car has been deployed to clear up that mess. I'll have to check on the race director to see which Force India it was that retired. And it was Nico Hülkenberg retiring along with Jules Bianchi. I think it was an incident between the pair of them into turn 1, which resulted in a double retirement in the first safety car of Season 2. I'm going to take this opportunity to box on lap 6 for the Prime tyres. We'll give up track position, of course. And our first pit stop for the new team. Prime tyres on the car, and away we go. I'll tell you what, the white helmet, I think, fits quite well with the livery. And we're going to rejoin well down the order, outside the points, in 16th position. And look at that, we are just ahead of my teammate, 2 positions below me. So Van Dorn is 17th between the 2 McLarens. So now we're in the mix with all the drivers who pit right at the start of the race to repair damage. We're behind Sebastian Vettel's Red Bull. And there's a few drivers coming out the pits. Who's that? Can we beat them to the pit lane exit line? No, we cannot. It seems to be one of the Williams that does have the Martini livery on the car now. And the pace car, not the pace car, the safety car in at the end of lap 8. So we're going to get this race underway once again. And I imagine it's going to be very soon that a lot of the front runners start to pit as well. In fact, I think first place has just gone into the pits as we've gone around the final corner. We're about to go as well. Come on, guys. We don't want to lose the front pack. Well, already the pack is massively spread out on the restart here. The leader's going through turn 2 as we've exited the final corner. And we're going to gain loads of places with drivers in the pits. We're going to shoot straight back up inside the points. It's 9th place now for early. And who's that going very slowly up ahead? That's Rio Haryanto. I'm just going to launch it in there on the exit of turn 10, I think that was. Van Dorn follows me through. So both me and the Force India of Van Dorn going through there. Rio Haryanto. I don't know how he found himself up in that position. But he's not stayed there for long. A few more drivers into the pits. But here goes Van Dorn down towards turn 1 to try and relegate me a place. He's not going to be able to do so into this corner. We're up to 6th place in the meantime. Well, through the pit stop phase, it's actually a very strange top 3. Perez leading Verstappen right now. And Verstappen has had a pit stop. He's on the prime tyres. He may be actually in a net first position right now. And the Mercs, the pair of them right now, after their pit stop, outside the points. They're in 11th and 12th place as it stands. Still a couple of drivers up in the top 5 yet to stop. As now that's Van Dorn round the outside of turn 15. Surely he's not going to make it work there. He's still on the outside. The Force India driver on debut, trying to show what he's about. He's still holding it in there. Side by side across the line we go. It's the McLaren versus the Force India. Jenson Button trying to make it a 3-way fight in the background. As there's a Ferrari driver rejoining onto the circuit. We're going to jump up above him and move into 5th place. And Van Dorn's lost out big time. Button's gone through. Whoa, big slide there from early. And now he's under pressure from his teammates. The 2 McLaren drivers going wheel to wheel here on lap 11 of the opening round of the season. Button brakes later than early, but then early lifts off the brakes to sail his car in there and hold on to the place. And there's a Ferrari joining this battle. A Ferrari who has just had a pit stop. I think that's Fernando Alonso. No, that's Sergio Perez. Okay. He's going up the inside of Button. Is he into the first corner? No, he's not. He's going around the outside of Button into the first corner. And I don't think he's made it stick. And the Haas Formula 1 team on debut have Robert Kubica in 4th place. Incredible. They qualified well down the order in, 19th and 20th, I think. So to be up in 4th place, it's been a very good race so far. The returning Polish driver. And that is Robert Kubica into the pits on the end of lap 12. So we are going to move up 1 place, maybe 2 places. I think another driver's in as well. Sebastian Vettel into the pits. So we're up into 3rd position. And where in the world has Alonso come from? Now we have both Ferraris right behind me, Alonso and his teammate Perez. I'm sliding all over the place. I don't think the tyres are even that worn right now. They're not. I just have absolutely no pace. Both Ferraris are itching to overtake me. I think I'm just going to start building up quite an early train behind my vehicle. Oh, that's a great exit from Alonso. Yeah, he's got that move done way before we slam on the brakes at turn 13. Fernando Alonso, the Ferrari driver, up into third place. He's on the option tyres as well, so of course he's got the advantage in pace. And now Kevin Magnussen in the lead Mercedes applying pressure. He's in fourth place right behind me. There he is. And now Kevin Magnussen with a good run as we had 2 more retirements from the race. Magnussen looking to make a move here on the inside of early. Is he going to make that stick? No, he's not. And huh? What have I got a penalty for? What did I get a penalty for? We'll take a replay of this one. I've just got a drive-through penalty for this incident. Let's see what I did wrong. Into the corner. No contact. I hold the place. What have I got a penalty for? I'm guessing we got a penalty for that contact there. That contact meant we get a drive-through penalty. So unfortunately, we have to serve a drive-through. Daniel Kvyat and Sebastian Vettel are 2 more retirees from the race. And unfortunately, we're going to head into the pits here on lap 14. Not for a pit stop, but we're going to serve a drive-through penalty. As we come out of the pits in 11th position, so just outside the points. And I can see my teammate Jenson Button trying to challenge, I think, one of the Force Indies into turn 1 behind. No, it's Robert Kubica in the Haas. There is the Haas Ferrari, that yellow liveried car. It looks quite nice, actually. I really like that livery. I think we sort of have to hope for another safety car to bring myself back into this fight for the points. Otherwise, it's going to be a very steep uphill battle. And there's a driver coming out of the pits. So we're up to 10th place. Okay, back inside the points. We do have to make one more pit stop, of course. And now it's Robert Kubica versus James Early here. Kubica returning to the sport after a number of years out, if you don't count my 2013 career mode where I returned him to Ferrari in that one. Of course, Kubica returning from this massive rally accident he had. I think it was back in the winter of 2011 or end of 2010, start of 2011, where he really severely damaged his forearm and meant he's essentially racing not one-handed, but not completely up to scratch with 2 hands. Really starting to struggle on these tyres now. I still need to do another 3 laps before we reach the targeted pit stop lap. And then I think we can put on a new set of the options and go to the end. There are a couple more drivers into the pits, so we're up to 7th place. You can see in the mirrors behind there, we have a very long train of cars behind me. That's got to be at least 6 cars. I'm guessing most of these drivers have pit for the final time in the race. So yeah, I don't know what my net track position is. Without that drive-through penalty, we'd definitely be in a net points position. And Van Dorn moving past Robert Kubica and into 8th place. That Force India looking mightily quick. I'll tell you what though, I'm really impressed with Kubica in the Haas today. He's been running as high as 4th position in a car that should not be running that high. And with about 10 laps to go, the top 3 is Verstappen, Perez, Bottas. Max Verstappen has had his second and you'd assume final stop in this race, and he still leads the way. I don't know how he's that far ahead. I think it's when the safety car came in and the front runners boxed. He had already boxed before the safety car came out, so he was already in the back of the queue. And they all boxed, and for some reason some of them backed up to allow the drivers to pit in front of them. Verstappen, he was the one already gunning it down towards turn 1, so he gained a load of time from that. Anyway, Jenson Button now the driver directly behind me. So we're going 1 more lap before boxing. Button, Sainz, both queuing up to make an overtake on poor old James Early, who's defending like his life depends on it to hold on to this points position. And Sainz has managed to get past Button. Button's dropped off big time. Van Dorn now in 9th position. There's a load of different teams battling for points today. I think we're going to have a very nice season with a load of different drivers scoring points, which will be nice to see. It's frustrating to see how slow I am at this track. That is Van Dorn around the outside of Carlos Sainz to make a move. Very impressive move from the rookie. And now he's got to run here on James Early. This is where Fernando Alonso overtook me down towards turn 13. Van Dorn can't find his way to the inside. And the early train officially comes to an end as on lap 20 we're boxing for a new set of the option tyres to take us to the end of the race. Oh, we've got 1 driver following me and 2 drivers following me in Sainz. And I don't know who is behind him. I can't quite see it. It might be one of the Haas drivers. It is. And that's option tyres on the car. It was Sainz and Kubica into the pits behind me. And they're both rejoined in the exact same position. And we're going to rejoin into this race quite close for 12th place. It's going to be 13th as through goes the lead Haas driver there of Scott Dixon. That's the first time I've actually seen him today. The car feels so much better now on fresh option tyres. We are much quicker than Scott Dixon. At least we can say that. We are not the slowest out here today. Got a great run here on Dixon. Down towards turn 11. We're going to make that move. There we go. And Jenson Button into the pits. Is he going to get out ahead of his teammate early? No, he is not. So we're back up to 11th place. And Raffaele Marciello is in 10th place on debut. And again, there's 6 drivers, I think, making their debut this weekend. Marciello, one of them. He's in 10th place. And right now he's 7.7 seconds up the road. He may be on his tyres that are going to end in this race. So we might need to actually close that gap to him, as there's been another retirement from the race. And it is Carlos Sainz Jr., the Toro Rosso driver, out on debut here. Sainz, the most recent series I think he was racing in was Formula Renault 3.5 last year, which at this point is most definitely a dying series. And with about 6 laps to go, it's 5.6 seconds to Marciello in front as Max Verstappen continues to lead out front. Thankfully, it's not an early train right now because Scott Dixon, who's even slower than me, is leading a trainer car. So it's a Dixon train. Sounds strange, quite eerie, quite scary. And now it'll be 5 laps to go. 3.9 seconds is the gap. So we're continuing to close. The tyres are holding on. I'm surprised nobody else has boxed up ahead. So I think the maximum we can achieve today is 10th place, which is going to be worse than what we achieved for Sauber this time last year. I am driving in cockpit cam, which makes a difference. Last year I was in TV pod at the start of the season. And usually I can drive a bit faster in TV pod because you can just see the corner coming up and see how much speed you can take through the corner. That's a personal best lap. The first lap we've done into the 131s. Not too bad. So it's only 2 seconds now to the car ahead. Scott Dixon is 5.6 seconds adrift, still leading a trainer cars, including my teammate Jenson Button. It's going to be quite sad to strip a point away from Marussia, who are struggling financially. Streamline Maruma to be taking over the team going into the season, but Marussia stood firm to hold on to their place in Formula 1, but they're not going to hold on to this place in the points at the Australian Grand Prix. Through goes early and into 10th place. The next car up the road is the Alfa Romeo Sauber of Kimi Raikkonen. That's 17 seconds. So we're not going to be closing that gap before the end with only 3 to go. I think without the drive-through penalty, would we even be further position up the grid? I don't know. I know for sure we would have held up some drivers for longer, so maybe we would have been 9th, maybe 8th place, but not really any more than that. As we start the final lap of the Grand Prix, Max Verstappen is on course to claim victory. He's done it. He's won the race. Max Verstappen on debut for Williams somehow has won. I don't know how that has happened. A lot of luck was on his side, but of course a lot of skill as well going into that one. And the 17-year-old, his first race in Formula 1, wins the race. He becomes the youngest race winner. The second youngest race winner is about 6 years younger than him, or 5 years younger than him, so that's incredible. Sliding out the final corner for the final time, it is going to be points for my McLaren debut, but overall I'd say a disappointing start to life at McLaren. And who would have expected that result today? Max Verstappen holds off a late charge from Fernando Alonso to win for Williams on his debut in F1. Fernando Alonso second. Kevin Magnussen is third place for Mercedes. Sergio Perez finishes just outside the podium places in fourth, followed by Ricciardo. Bottas in the second, Williams. Stoffel Van Dorn on debut in 7th place, followed by Grosjean, Raikkonen and James Early getting 10th place. Raffaele Marciello just misses out in 11th. Robert Kubica, the first driver to be lapped. He's in 12th ahead of Palmer. Scott Dixon, Jenson Button 15th. Lewis Hamilton 16th place. What went wrong for Hamilton today? And he's just ahead of Rio Haryanto with 5 retirements today. Carlos Sainz and Daniel Kvyat, both Toro Rosso's retiring. Sebastian Vettel, the driver who won most recently the 2014 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, he retired ahead of Max Hulkenberg and Jules Bianchi in 22nd place. So it means the Drivers' Championship identical, of course, to the race result. Max Verstappen leads the way. I can't imagine he's going to stay there, but what a start it has been to his career. Williams actually have the lead in the Constructors as well. 3 points ahead of Ferrari. Mercedes, who were the pre-season favourites by a decent way, in third place right now ahead of Red Bull, who should have been going into this season in fine form. Not to be the case. Only 10 points here this afternoon. Sauber are 7th, my old team, ahead of McLaren, my new team, who are on 1 point scored. There we have it, the end of episode 1. If you enjoyed that one, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed so you don't miss a future episode of this series. And I'll see you all for round 2 of the season. Goodbye.